folks, Matro here. Are you planning a trip to Myanmar? Because I've been there very recently, and hear me out, because I guess you don't want to be stranded there in the middle of the night in a hotel with no electricity. Because in this video I give you a lot of tips and must-knows about traveling around in Myanmar. So for example, things you need to know about the electricity issue there, how to move around there, about the curfews, the exchange rates and stuff like that. So basically everything you need to know to have a good trip around Myanmar. So here we go. Today I'm gonna talk a little bit about Myanmar. So Myanmar, as known as Burma, you might have known is right now in a civil war, but you can actually go there as a tourist since e-visas are available again for tourists, and there are certain sites you can visit there. Basically the four main sites, so Yangon, Mandalay, Bagan and in the lake. And there are some other sites that are opening up as well, but sometimes they're closing again, so this is something you have to look into if you can go there or not, like this Golden Rock. Apparently recently you can go there again, but it might change. So in this video I talk a little bit more about how it is being there and what you need to know. Also when it comes to curfew, night times and so on, there are some things you need to know. So generally Myanmar is pretty safe for tourists, like at least the areas you're allowed to go to. So don't worry too much about it. But of course there's a curfew for a reason. It's changing all the time, so I can't really give you the time exactly. Like right now I think it's at midnight, before it was like at 9. They might change it to 10 again. I don't know.
Hey! Do you have any idea what time it is? Get in the house!
So always double check the curfew times with the hotel stuff here. There have been some robberies, smugglers and so on, especially at night time here with everything that happened. So you need to be careful about this as well. So during the day, don't worry, like it's very safe. I always felt safe here. There has been nothing so far. But at night time, a lot of people stay at home. You don't see many cars on the street anymore. I would say anything after like 8:30 p.m. Is already getting a bit dangerous. So of course you can still go to bars and everything. Everything there is fine. The issue is more like walking on the street. So if possible, always take a taxi. That's the safest option. If you don't have that option, then of course try to not be alone. Like have another person with you that is actually going the same way as you, just to be on the safe side. If you don't have another person, another tip I can give you is like look confident. Like maybe you remember the Disney movie Mulan, where Mushu kinda like shows Mulan how to be a man and walk like a man.
I'm too strong!
Maybe not in the extreme way, but go kind of like that way. So like, you know, chest out, chin up and show confidence while walking. In that way your body language is already kind of show that you're not to be messed with. Of course it doesn't give 100% security, but there are less chances that people will try to rob you if you look confident. Because if you're like a little mouse and just looking around all the time and trying to hide yourself, people will catch you. So always try to look confident if you do so. But of course the best way of not being mugged or robbed or anything in the night time is to just not walk alone on the streets. So that's like one thing you have to be careful about here. Because just recently in Yangon it happened that a Japanese traveler was walking in the night time and he was stabbed even. So be careful. So on internet and electricity. So internet, you're lucky. At the airport, the foreigners, they get a special SIM card. It's also available as eSIM. And those SIM cards, they have a pretty good network, I must say. Like honestly, they are better than some in the West. Looking at you, Germany. So it's actually pretty fine. I can't complain about it at all. People who live here don't get those SIM cards, they get different ones, and the network is, let's just say, not good at all. So this is like one of the nice points of being a tourist here. You get a better SIM cards than the locals, which is insane. It is what it is. Be aware of that. Wi-Fi in the hotels usually works quite nice, probably also because of tourism. When you go to cafes and so on and you go to the Wi-Fi,
My friend, he's a little slow.
most of the time it also doesn't work at all. It's really slow, you can forget about it, it's horrible. So be aware of that, that the internet here, if you use the local SIMs and local Wi-Fi, many times it doesn't work as you might think it would work. Also electricity, they have a huge shortage of electricity here, like really huge. So like in Yangon, some parts of electricity in the morning, some in the evening, and that's it. So be aware of that as well. Take a power bank with you. Also here in Mandalay, as far as I know, they don't have the system of morning and evening, but here it just cuts all of a sudden. So one moment you have electricity, the next 3, 4, 5 hours you don't have electricity. Nobody knows when it happens, it just happens. It's a huge problem here, like really huge, I can tell you. Many places, especially hotels, they have their own generators, but they have a fuel crisis as well. So the generators, they need diesel, but it's very expensive here and harder and harder to come by as well. So they only use it at certain times. Some hotels, they give you the times when they use it, which is very handy. But it's also like a thing to be aware of, which is why I'm saying take a power bank with you, because you're gonna have the issue of not having any electricity at all, which is really nice when you're on the toilet in a room without a window and all of a sudden the electricity cuts and it's black. It didn't happen to me. Yeah, so that's another thing to be aware of. Like about accommodation in Myanmar. So there are like 4 main sites you can visit here. It's Yangon, Mandalay, Bagan and the Indo Lake. All 4 of them, they have at least one hostel. They have several hotels and guest houses. So there's nothing to worry about. Even though since 2020 a lot of the things closed, especially hostels, like most of them closed, but each and every city or town of those I named have at least one hostel still open, so you don't need to worry about that. Also, a tip here, the prices you see in the internet, they are very different from the prices you get here. They're usually more expensive. So since there's not so much tourism here and the hotels and so on, they usually have always a place free, I would suggest you take this one night, book it for the visa which you need, and all the others just show up at the hotel or hostel or wherever and ask them if you can stay there. Like for me, they never said no, they always had a bed or a room free. Usually they have a place free, and it was always cheaper than what you get on the internet. So that's definitely something noteworthy. And transportation. So transportation here, they have private taxis, they have airplanes, they have buses, they have basically everything you need. I usually choose the bus. To some places, like in the Lake Yangon for example, you have night buses, which is very handy. They have big VIP buses which cost around $12 for like one way to one to the other place. And they're very comfortable seats, you can put them back like a bed. It's really, really nice. I can really suggest it to do that. So transportation here is not an issue at all. If you take flights, remember for flights you need to show a hotel booking to the next destination. So that's something you definitely need to be aware of. Also flight tickets for foreigners will be double the price. So if a flight is like $50, then for you it's $100. That's also something you need to know. So honestly, I would just stick to buses. It's much easier. It takes more time, unfortunately, but it's just simpler to do that. If you take the night buses, which are available on like the main routes usually, you can stay for a night in a hotel or hostel. So it's even better in that way. Also, when you take road transportation, there will be checkpoints, but there are nothing to worry about at all. Like with the checkpoints, there is just a police guy coming asking you for your passport, sometimes for your visa as well, like the printed out form. They check it, it takes a few seconds and they give it back to you, so that's fine. Sometimes they ask you for the name of the hotel you're going to. They never ask you for any reservation, so that's also nothing to worry about. Just give them a hotel name and it's also like you're good to go. So really don't worry about checkpoints. They're very easygoing with foreigners here. So further with the video about Myanmar. So money and money exchange. So money is quite a topic here. It's actually quite complicated in some ways. Like you have the official rate and the unofficial rate. The official rate you usually get at ATMs. So ATMs do work here, but don't use them. You like per $1 you lose at least 1,000 kyat. So don't use them at all. Take cash with you. All in all, like if you use US dollars, they have to be crisp and new and just look perfect, marvelous. Euros, they don't look too much how they look like, but they should still look fresh. Otherwise, I tell it with Thai baht, it was completely fine. They also accept like Malaysian money, Chinese money and so on. So I wouldn't worry too much about the currency you take with you. To exchange money, it's always best to ask directly in your hotel where you can go to exchange the money. Check the unofficial rate beforehand, like ask online and so on. There are a lot of information about it. And then exchange your money either in Yangon or in Mandalay, because in the other places, like the smaller the town, the worse the exchange rate is getting. So the best place to exchange would be Yangon and afterwards Mandalay. And otherwise don't exchange because you're gonna lose a lot of money. Like in Bagan I had troubles to find a good exchange rate, and in the end in the lake I got the worst one. So don't do that, don't be me, do it in the big cities and you will be fine. Also a lot of the social networks, also WhatsApp, they are not working here at all. For this you need a VPN, so get a VPN in advance before you go to the country. And also the question is as well, like how is it to be there? Should you go there and is it safe to go there? So as a tourist it's safe enough, you're not gonna see anything except for like the checkpoints and that's basically it. And of course the power cuts that are happening all the time. But otherwise you don't see anything, like really nothing about the civil war, because you can't go in those areas anyway. If you should go there, it's an ethical question. I ask people there what they think about tourists coming to the country. To me they said they are happy about it, because since everything started they lost the tourism industry. They lost, a lot of people lost a lot of money, had to close the hostels, hotels, restaurants, everything. So believe me, for them tourists coming back is like really something they need to have to get money again, to keep up, to survive and everything. So for this reason I think it's good to say that you should go to this country if you think you're up to it. Also there is not much to worry about. Many things are pretty easy going. You have the tourist card as well, so people don't really see you as a target or anything. They might see you as a walking wallet. It did happen to me there as well, so yeah, but it's in many countries the same. And it's a very beautiful country with amazing, incredible people. Like when you talk to them, I just love the people of Myanmar, really. And I really hope everything is gonna get better soon. And the news doesn't look too good right now. Yeah. The thing is also, with this video, the things I told you, please remember anything can change at any second. So this video is basically never up to date. The best thing to do is of course check online how the situation is, check or try to find people that have recently been there, because with every day the video gets older, the information in this video also gets older. Just keep this in mind. And otherwise, if you go to Myanmar, I really hope you're gonna enjoy your stay there. And that's basically it for the video. So I do hope you enjoyed it. I also hope I gave you a lot of much needed info about traveling to Myanmar. If you have any questions, please write the questions in the comments down below. Also remember to subscribe and see you next video. Bye!